Hello and welcome to an episode of Take Up Space Podcast. I thank you for tuning in. This is part two of Procrastination with myself, Leah, and Jason. Please tune in, share with a friend, and let's get ready to learn how to get over procrastination and learn how to become active doers.
Gotten back into writing and stuff, I've realized that I don't do well with formalized, at least for the way it looks for me compared to other people. I don't do well with formalized writing processes where like I sit down like, okay, I'm going to do an outline and then I research this and then I write this. For me, it's very fragmented, like where I'll start off with, okay, I'm going to write something first and just brain dump everything out and then step
Yeah.
away from it for a week and then
Mm-hmm.
come back to it and do like a reverse framework and then start researching.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's interesting that we have that difference. It's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, I just because and most of the time when I'm doing my research,
Mm.
it's like my brain holds on to it for as
Yeah,
long
yeah.
as I need it. And then when I don't need it anymore, I'll let it go.
Hmm.
And so I'll get it for like, oh, you're making this for, like, especially like when it comes to like purchases or if it comes to getting the projects done, I'll retain as much information as necessary to
Hmm.
do comparative analyses and talking about the pitfalls or successes that we expect. Um, so once I'm doing that,
Yeah,
it's easier for me to move forward and make a decision because at this
yeah.
point I have taken all the naps that I can take.
Hmm.
It is probably 2:30 in the morning the day before the presentation,
Hmm.
and I have to just like get to something and stick to it.
Isn't that interesting though that we have, or that there are so many different types of procrastination? Like you're the type like you just do anything else, right?
Yes,
And then kind of
whatever
come back to it.
else.
And then like I've had students even that like they'll hold on to something and then they'll talk about their ideas with me and they'll talk me through an entire essay. But when it comes down to actually sitting down and writing an actual paper, they won't do that until like maybe 8 hours before the paper's due. And then
That's me.
see, I can't do that.
See, if I okay, so here's and I didn't mean to cut you off, but like
No, no, go
that's
ahead.
that's my process. So I can't write.
Hmm.
Like I can physically write, but if I have to do a brain dump and I
Hmm.
have to get stuff out of my body, I have to find a person to be a
Hmm.
sounding board. Not
Yes.
that I need them to tell me
No,
um
you have to talk through
anything.
your ideas.
Yes, I just have to get everything out. So because it's easier for me to explain if I have a person that I'm talking to,
Hmm.
because if I write, I'll get so caught up in making it flowery language that
Hmm.
I lose the substance
Lose the
in the
essence, the
writing.
heart of it. Yeah.
And then it's just like, what is this?
And honestly, I wish more students were like that, where they don't get caught up on. And this isn't a. This is not a an attack on the students. This is more so of like not an attack, but a criticism of the way that education is at this point and what we value and everything.
Yeah.
I wish that there was less value placed on that flowery academic language and more on the ideas that students are having or coming up with. Like I've graded bullet pointed lists for students where they could not write the essay because they couldn't figure out how to articulate what they wanted to say,
Hmm.
but the bullet pointed list or the outline that they come up with has really good details and they even plug in where the sources will go. And I've graded students giving them a C on that because I can see that they have the critical thinking strategies there. Yeah, there was
Hmm.
a, yeah, but yeah, that's one of the criticisms that I have about academic writing. And for the most part, there is some shifting away from that. But because that's something that we've been taught, like since we were in, like what, second or third grade when we started writing essays,
Yeah.
that's been beaten into us to where, okay, if I have something that I want to write, it has to be perfect. It has to be have glitter and stars and stripes and all that kind of
Oh, we
stuff,
got to
right?
use 5-syllable words,
Yeah,
and if you
5 syllable
don't have
words that you've never heard of, break out the thesaurus.
right,
And it's not realistic because a lot of our best ideas are just spoken in actual spoken word and spoken language, and like having that kind of dialect and
right.
verbiage and stuff. And yeah, that's something we can talk about later. But that's another reason, a big reason why students procrastinate is because because they just get caught up on making it sound academic.
That's what I was just talking to my cousin earlier, who I
A lot
just
of
met.
people,
He's
why a lot
awesome.
of people procrastinate when it
Yeah.
comes to writing, at least I should say. Sorry.
We get so caught up with wanting to make it sound, what's a nice way to say it, mainstream. Regardless of what we're doing, we try to make
Standard English.
yes, we try to make sure that we're using standard, grade appropriate English. So so that we can be taken seriously or seen as a person of credibility. And when we get caught up in that, for instance, one of the things was I didn't really know how to do my bio or anything like that for the marketing purposes. And I'm working with people, telling them, how to do an elevator pitch and blah, blah, blah. And in doing that, I was just like, I could say that, I teach effective communication to people to be able to learn how to effectively communicate with any audience with confidence. But that doesn't really tell you what I do. And so it's like, in plain English, what is it that you do? I teach people to talk. That's all. That's all it is.
For my Instagram bio for the longest, it was, or for a little while, I can't remember if it's still set to that, but my Instagram bio used to be, I help people write good, and like I teach people to write good, and that's very far from standard academic language, but it gets the point across. I help you write better.
Right. And that's especially with emojis and all this.
There's so many other ways to communicate that you can't get hung up on, like you said, 5-syllable words.
Yeah. Because that's not today in corporate America, your manager probably graduated from college. The higher up you go, they probably graduated from college 30 years ago. And they don't talk like they just graduated from college because they've lived life, and they don't have to do those academic conversations. It's interesting to me being in corporate and hearing the amount of people who curse on the floor. I don't know why, as an adult, that just like took me aback. I was like, oh, y'all cursing?
What?
Oh, it's like hearing your aunt curse or your grandmother curse for the first time. It's like,
it's like when I walk into the office when we were able to leave the house, when I would go to work and the dean, I would be like, hey, how's it going, dean? And she'd be like, yeah, wish I wasn't here, but yeah. Oh, we don't have to fake this.
What? You're a human person. Oh, look at you.
I even gotten to the point where I can, like, if we just exchange really quick, I can just, I've had better. I've been better. She's like, yeah, it's one of those days. Like, even that, like, even that kind of thing, it helps people see that you don't have to worry so much about coming across as what you think you're supposed to act like.
Right.
But one thing that stood out to me that you just mentioned, that when you were trying to write your bio, you got so hung up on trying to sound or trying to gain credibility. And something that popped into my head automatically is like, you, in seeking credibility, we often lose our authenticity. Like, we lose ourselves. Like, we lose like who we are.
Yes.
And yeah, it's
that's
frustrating.
So true. That is so true.
And just so everybody knows, whoever's listening, if you're a boss and you're listening, Leah, you're a boss. So listen, I'm trying to get my students to move past that. Like, even with their essays, I'm trying, like, we start the class with, okay, this is how people expect us to talk. Why do we need to learn how to do this, or expect us to write even? So why is that being valued in this space and in public spaces in general? And how can we learn to navigate it? But how can we also bring our home voices into this so that our essays sound like we're talking to our peers and sound like we're talking to each other?
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm huge on. Like, I'll even tell students, this doesn't sound like you. Like, this isn't you. This isn't you. Let's talk about this sentence so we can word it in a way that sounds like you're talking to someone.
I never understood it when my English teachers wrote that. I never understood it.
It's tricky. I've never.
They're like, "Is this you? Did you write this?" Because they would always say it, and I felt like it was accusingly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I didn't.
Like, no, this isn't your
plagiarize
voice.
it. And they're like,
this isn't your
nah.
voice. Like, my students could turn in papers with their names removed, and I could tell who wrote them, because everyone's writing voice is different. Everyone's voice, like their spoken voice, comes across in their writing.
I believe that 100%, because it happens in text, so it has to happen in papers.
Yeah. So at least, like, in text, like, when I've been kidnapped, like, that one time that I got kidnapped.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that though.
Picked up on it right away.
Mm-hmm.
You got me safe.
Yeah, just want to make sure that you stay home.
So how do we fix this? How do we stop procrastinating? Is the question, right?
Oh,
what are some strategies that you've had? And then I'll share mine based in research and stuff, I guess. I feel like I'm taking the more clinical approach to this for the most part.
I feel like you are. I feel like you definitely are. Some ways I have beat procrastination is having
or tried. Yeah. And if
I'm doing a lot better, surprisingly, ever since I started doing a reward system.
Okay.
Where I can actually, because sales don't last forever. So when there's a sale, I have to put out certain tasks.
A fire under you.
Yes, because if I miss the sale, I'm going to be so upset because those $90 jeans are now $20, and I have like until 3:00 in the morning to buy them.
So your artificial deadlines, because that's one of the things that I tell my students to do all the time, is to create, if you have like the set date that you have in mind, the final deadline that the final drafters do, set milestones for yourself. So your milestones are sales, promotion.
Yes.
Okay.
I have to, because I want the clothing, but I only want it if it's on sale.
Yes.
And I haven't paid full price for anything in a while, but the full sales, it's always like the last 3 days of the sale that I find something else that I have to do, and I'm like, okay, before I can purchase this, I have to be able to complete these tasks, and then I can do that. And then also reinforcing myself, like that when I watching my talk, that is another huge thing that I'm working on.
What do you mean by that? Like your self-talk?
Yes, my self-talk, because my self-talk, if I met me talking to me this way, we would fight.
Yep.
Oh, we would fight.
I think I've actually said that to you a few times. Like, don't talk about our friend like that. Don't say it about my friend.
Yeah.
When you're talking about yourself.
It's like,
I do that to my mom too. Like she'll talk about herself, and I'll just be like, okay, this lady keep talking about my mama. I'm not okay with this.
I have to remember that I'm, as much grace and mercy that I give to other people, like, and just allowing them to be human and make mistakes and things like that, I don't give that to myself. So
self-compassion.
I live in my guilt. I live in my frustration. I live in my anger of, you should have got this done. Why are you waiting so long? Now it's Saturday. Now we have people waiting on us, and now you're rushing. Had you did this before, blah, 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 blah. All that, the inner voice talking, all that good stuff. So I'm learning, and I haven't perfected it because it's progress over perfection, but I am learning to be more gentle with myself, but also have better by having, because I know it needs to get done, but I don't have a plan.
So more disciplined, but also being more gentle with yourself. one of the
Yes.
things that has stood out to me since I switched to this therapist is the idea of self-compassion
Mm,
and just making sure that, like, even if you are just that self-talk that you were just talking about, okay, why didn't you do this? Now all these people are waiting for me. That why did you do this one? Actually sit down and kind of visualize that waiting person or whatever, or visualize that reason why you procrastinated, and actually think of, okay, why did I procrastinate? What was I going through? What was I facing at this point? What other things were stressing me out? And how can I approach it more, I guess, effectively, or more with more tact
right.
towards yourself? Um, yeah,
I feel
that
like
would be
my
one of my
therapist
big
and your
suggestions.
therapist went to school together.
Probably
I
so.
feel like
Is yours youngish?
uh she could be my auntie.
Okay. Yeah, mine is, I think, exactly 10 years older than me. So, like,
Nah,
43.
she definitely could be my auntie. She's like late 40s.
Mm.
And she was just like, you gotta reparent yourself and get out of that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, so when I, just like you said, I visualized talking to myself, it's like I have to talk to my emotional side,
Yeah, you
because
have
my
to talk
logical
to yourself as
side,
a little kid. Like,
oh my
visualize
gosh,
that child.
she's 8 years old. And I'm like, hey girl, what happened? Why are you doing this? Or what happened? And
Like,
she's just like,
basically, like, give that little girl the attention that she is so
oh,
desperately
she be so mad. She
screaming
be throwing
for.
tantrums and stuff. I'm like, why are you so angry, girl? And then she'd be like, man, we didn't eat like for the last two. I sure didn't feed you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Or
It's
like,
like, I
I'd be
hear
like,
you.
why are
Let's
you so
fix it.
mad? Oh man, because she did this. And I was like, but why is her
Why are
saying
you mad?
this effective to you? And she's like, because remember that time when the other girl, oh,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not her. Let's get it together. So
Like, yeah, I
I,
understand that happened. It sucks, but that's not her.
right. We don't have to fight today. Let's
It's
understand it.
misdirected anger.
Yeah, like it's okay. It's okay. And once I started to learn how to talk to her and learn to listen to her,
Mm-hmm.
because we always want to dismiss like the emotions that we have.
Yeah.
And I think that it's better to process through it by understanding why and where those emotions are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like every time I envision her, especially when I'm supposed to be doing something, she's always in the dark hiding under a table. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, why are we here?
Like,
What
come
is
out into the light.
right? Can we get the light on? I don't want to get the light on because then people are going to see me. And it's just like, it's a whole thing with her. And so
Yeah.
it's like a constant, check in with myself, a constant, hey. And as I'm getting things done, I have more, um, I find myself celebrating more
Yeah.
and being more in the moment instead of just like, whenever I
Worrying
get
about the
through
next thing.
this,
Yeah,
whatever,
just kind of
instead of
getting
just
through
like,
it.
yeah, instead of accomplishing something, like just
Yeah.
getting through it to the other side once it just happens.
I sure wish we went to Seattle with these mindsets. Does help. I tell my students that. What else do I tell them, actually? I think the sounding board thing, and just having someone to hold you accountable, like you said, is the biggest thing. Like, one of the hardest things that I try to get students to do is just come to office hours, just so that we can talk through their ideas. Because once they start talking about their ideas
Mm-hmm.
as a sounding board, just to talk about everything that they have in mind, or even if I can convince them to, no matter what kind of project that you're working on, by the way, I encourage you to free write. Just sit down and write out every
Same.
single idea that comes to mind, and that will help you get through that first hurdle. That is probably the most effective method to address procrastination that I can think of, that has been the most rewarding for all of my students, is to just sit down and either write through all of your ideas or break out your phone and record yourself with all of your ideas if you're more of an audio person.
Right.
Because once you do that first brain dump, you can pick through everything, and it makes it a lot less intimidating.
It's so like make sure you have multiple pens
Yeah,
because it is free writing is probably
Post-its.
one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah.
Like it's one of my favorite things to do just because especially if I really don't know. I know what I want to do,
Hmm.
but I don't know how it needs to happen. But the
Yeah.
answer is in there somewhere. I know it
Yeah.
is.
You have all these different things just bouncing around. It's like you can't catch it. You can't catch one. You can't
Right.
catch that first one. But yeah, if you free write it, then you can read back through it and you can pick through like, oh, okay, this is the most logical first step. And you can start to sequence things more effectively. And that goes towards essays, that goes towards if you start a podcast, you're doing documentaries. So I've done that with my students. It goes towards any project that you can think of. If you write it out first, it's a lot easier for you to make it tangible and to make things progress more logically.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Because the answer a lot of times for me, I'll free write for about 4 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and by about midway through the third page, the answer will hit me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, that's what I need to do. I
There it
typically
is.
don't have to go back through and read any of it, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
find it like a year or two later in old notebooks, like, oh, I was writing about blah blah blah. But getting
Like a
everything
callback.
out, yeah, that's really what it is. Getting through the cloud of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes I have to write about my day, I have to write about what happened and to this and why I got
Yeah,
in the
you have
project and
to
all that.
get everything else out first.
Yeah,
Because all that
doing
stuff,
that.
if you think about it, all that other stuff is sitting on top of what you're trying to get to. So it's like you're sifting through stuff and you're like almost like mining for gold or something. And it's like you have to get all the other crud out of the way. Maybe it's not all crud. Maybe you'll find some fossils and artifacts and stuff and that kind of thing. And you put those to the side and you can come back to them later on, right? But that one thing that you're looking for, you have to dig through a lot of crap to get to it.
Right. I agree.
I just said your ideas that you dug through were crap. I'm sorry.
It's okay because a lot of them are. That's why I only say the good ones out loud and the ones
Yeah.
that need a good laugh.
Yeah,
But
accountability, having an accountability buddy, and free writing, and acknowledging whatever you're in, acknowledging the procrastination, acknowledging why you procrastinated, because you're not always going to have the same reason for procrastinating. Sometimes it's deliberate. Sometimes it's like, okay, that check needed to get sent last week. So,
get out of my head. I sent the check out today. No, just
yeah, I know exactly why too. No, the other thing, did you send them your receipts? You didn't, did you?
Listen, I want you to stop. I need you to stop. I need you to
See,
stop.
accountability partner right here.
Stop asking me questions. I just don't know. Just no. No,
This is my show.
but visualizing,
Yes.
your success, making sure you have a reward system, not just where you get extravagant things, but you
Yeah.
celebrate like your milestones
Yeah.
and even if it's just you celebrating yourself because you
Mm-hmm.
have to get in that habit, but having that time to celebrate yourself and to actually attach emotion to how you feel
Mm-hmm.
once you have accomplished your milestone or your goals or anything that you have set to do
Mm-hmm.
your projects. Some people are tasks people, can do a checklist and they're fine. But some people are it's a little deeper
Yeah.
than that.
I do like that you pointed out again the rewards thing, because one of the big things that we try to get, that I try to get my students, that I try to sort of do for myself here and there. Before coffee was my why do I keep saying coffee? But before coffee was my reward thing. Like that would be my thing. Like me and my friend Amber, we would go to Old Soul, that was our place, or either Stell's to get some pastries. We would go there, we would get some work done, we would talk for a little while, get some work done, and then we would reward ourselves with a coffee or something. But even if it's something like you have like a bag of Hershey Kisses or something, and you just say, okay, every time I finish a paragraph, I'm gonna go in the kitchen and get a Hershey Kiss, or every time I finish a paragraph, I'll watch an episode of this show. Those kind of little things. It's
Yes.
not that you have to, even if like you don't have a lot of money or something, or if you're frugal like me, you you can set those kind of milestones for yourself, where you get something done and then you have something to look forward to. Like, okay, I want to find out who killed such and such. I don't want to spoil any shows.
Carol Baskins. It was Carol Baskins.
It's always Carol Baskins.
It's Carol Baskins. Let's just let's just get it out there. It is Carol Baskins. But yeah, I still haven't seen the show. But
have you watched Game of Thrones yet?
No.
Really?
No, I haven't.
You only have to watch up until before the last season.
Yes. The first 7 seasons, people are like, it's great. Don't even watch the last one. But I was just like...
boils my blood. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
No.
You would love that show. And these are shows, just for the record, these are shows that I've been telling your host to watch for years now. And she has been putting them off for years.
Oh, because it's just like another show to get in. Like, I started rewatching Golden Girls and Living Single.
Rewatching.
Yes.
As in you watched it before.
Yes.
As in instead of rewatching, you could watch Breaking Bad. There's only 4 seasons of Breaking Bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought we were like in The Walking Dead season 12 or whatever.
Breaking Bad ended. Like, they had a specific story arc that they wanted to tell. And so they did that, and they ended
then I
with
might watch
the 5th season. Yeah.
Only 4
They
seasons.
didn't drag it out at all.
Okay.
Let me double check so I'm not lying to you.
No, because one of my shows just ended last year, which was or beginning of this year, which was The Magicians. And
what is that on?
That was on Sci-Fi.
Is it streaming on anything?
Netflix.
Well, actually, more pertinent question. Do you think I would like it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I brought it up to you once before, and you didn't seem interested, so I left it alone.
Well,
it seemed like you would watch it because it's like Harry Potter for adults.
Let me see. You said The Magicians?
Yes.
Let's make a deal.
Oh, God.
Okay, they have it on here.
It's 5 seasons of it. The 5th season is not out yet, though.
Okay, it's 4 on here.
Yeah, the 5th season is not out. They just finished.
I watched the first episode. Okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll watch the first episode, and you watch the first episode of Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Okay.
Deal. And even if I don't finish The Magicians, and even if we don't like each other's shows, but
at least the first episode. That's all we're going to commit to is the first episode. If we're hooked. Yeah.
See, accountability. So we're accountable to each other. Okay.
Well, it typically takes around like the 3rd or 4th episode of any show to like get hooked on it.
Yeah. And I'm good about like starting a show and making it to like the last 10 minutes of the first episode, or even a movie, like making it to the last 10 minutes of whatever I'm watching, and then be like, okay, this is stupid. I'll turn it off. And Jordan, my brother, that is one thing that I do that really aggravates him, because like we'll make it 20 minutes out from a movie being done, and we'll talk about how dumb it is the entire time, and then I'll just be like, okay, menu, and just exit it on the Apple TV and go to something completely different. Like, why not just finish the show?
Just finish it.
I think it's a show of protest, actually, because it's like, yeah,
you're not going to get the rest of my time.
Yeah,
I spent an hour and a half with you. You don't need the last 10 minutes.
You're not getting the satisfaction of me finding out how this story ends.
I need you to not. I need you to not.
All right, so we're accountable to each other to watch these shows. What are our other steps? We need to be prepared to acknowledge why we didn't watch the show tonight if we didn't watch the first episode.
Oh, we're watching it tonight? Because it's...
Well, okay, let's say
by Sunday.
By Monday.
Oh, Monday. By Monday? Oh, okay.
Yeah, by Monday.
Okay.
So, well...
I think after I watch the show, I'll probably feel like I'm in it now. Kind of not. It's not even a sense of relief. It's like I'm joining a club.
Yeah.
And so because I'll know, even though it's like a 5-year memoriam or whatever, but
You'll get it. Like you'll
yeah,
get
I
it.
feel like, I'll get references now.
So what will the reward be? Because we need a reward, right?
Ooh,
What will your reward be?
for you, um,
Wait, for me?
yeah,
We're
I
picking
thought
each other's rewards? Oh.
I thought we were picking each other's awards.
No, like your reward, because remember it's your task to watch that
Oh,
show.
okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so I
what
guess
is
that
your
would make
reward?
sense. My reward for watching this show would be, um, ooh, that's a good question.
I think mine will be maybe a burger.
I was gonna say lumpia because
That's on Tuesday for us.
I
Because
really
the
want.
truck is coming by.
Wednesdays are typically my lumpia days because that's when I can get all of my adulting done in the morning, and then at night I go to work, and then after work I get lumpia.
Okay.
So I guess I need a different word. Um, I guess I'll go to Andy's.
Okay.
It's a custard place.
Ooh, yeah. Speaking of Andy's, okay. Instead of the burger, because I'll probably do that tonight because I'm hungry. Um, instead of the burger, after I watch the show, I'll place an order for candy delivery because I've been wanting to order more triple chocolate toffee
Ooh,
from. Yeah, it's really good.
you're fancy.
Yeah, it's really good, and some chocolate covered cherries. Okay, so that's my reward for watching the first episode of The Magicians.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it around to it. So you said Andy's custard, and then
Yes.
Andy's candy for me. It's called Andy's Candy. If you're in Sacramento, check it out. It's very good.
Yeah,
I'll plug it. I
Andy's.
don't care.
I think Andy's custard is only in Austin and Charlotte. That's the only two places that I've seen it.
I've never had. It's frozen custard, right?
Yes.
I've never had frozen custard before.
I just realized that there's a difference between frozen custard and not frozen custard. As soon as you said it, I just had that realization.
Yeah, because custard goes
I
in
know.
banana pudding. Ooh, I want to
No,
make
it's
banana.
meringue.
No, meringue goes on top, but the
inside is
the middle,
custard. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
at least for homemade banana pudding, like
Yes.
completely homemade.
Yes, I remember now.
I love banana pudding, but I'm off track.
Well, thank you so much for joining.
No problem.
I think that procrastination is something that I'm glad we were able to get this episode done because I really wanted to just push this out to the last thing. Like I really, no
Yeah, I
pun
knew you did.
intended, but I really just, I didn't.
You didn't want to talk about the procrastination one?
No.
And see, she forgot to call me tonight.
I did.
And I feel like at first I thought is she procrastinating? So we're going to do this tomorrow? That's what I was thinking of.
So here's what happened. I got off work at 7.
Oh, okay.
I didn't order food until 7:40.
What time is it? Oh, it's 7:41 right now. I should order food.
I didn't order food until 7:40. And they were like, oh, if you pick it up, we'll give it to you 50% off. And I was like, oh, bet. So at 8:25, I just picked up my food and I was like, oh, snap, what time is it? I'm not going to be back home in time because I'm 15 minutes away. I hope he answers when I call him. But
it's sad that that's always a question. It's a valid question, but it's
that was my legitimate thought process. That's exactly what happened because I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late, and I was driving, so I couldn't text you, and I could have
to her
texted
own
you.
party.
I could have texted you when I left to go get the food because I knew I was gonna be late. But then I was like, it's COVID.
Nah.
Nobody's going anywhere. We're all gonna be at home.
I mean, I could have been. That's it. I could have been.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think this was a good one to get started. Just it's almost like a set the stage for everything. So we have like almost like some ground rules.
Yes.
For each episode forthcoming.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. We kind of went like longer than what like I thought it would be. But
That always happens.
yeah, but I'm glad that we have like good material to use, even if I have to like cut it up and put it together and splice all that kind of stuff. But I feel like it's just gonna be long, so it's like gotta probably do 2 parts.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're
This
so
has
welcome.
been an episode of Take Up Space.
Do I
We
plug
talked
myself or
about.
something? Do I plug my Instagram?
Would you like to plug your Instagram?
I
Why are
don't
you
know.
looking
Do we
for
do
a
that
place
here?
to actually physically plug? What?
I don't, no, I'm doing like this with my hands.
Oh.
Holding my hands in tiny little fists, as small as my fist can get.
No,
But
you're
is this something
no.
that you do on your?
Yes. Please tell them where they can find you.
Wow. No, you guys can follow me on Instagram at JJ_Newberry.
Not
At JJ
underdash.
Newberry. Yeah,
Not
underdash. The underdash is important because there's another JJ Newberry out there whose name
I saw that.
I tried to take his name for years, but they actually emailed me one day
Underdash.
about that, trying to take my name. I'm like, no.
Because you didn't say underscore, you said underdash.
Underdash.
I'm stuck on
What
that.
is an underdash?
I don't know what an underdash is, and I'm just like, it's not an underdash, it's an underscore, but
Follow me at JJ_Newberry. Maybe they say underdash in New York, and that's why I kept saying coffee.
Is that what we're gonna go with?
That's what I'm going with.
Oh, okay. Definitely check the website, championsofdiscourse.com, Champions of Discourse on Facebook and Instagram, Champions of Disc on Twitter. Please leave any questions and comments that you have about procrastination. What do you do to prevent from procrastinating? Or how do you procrastinate? Let us know. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. We appreciate your viewership. Thanks so much. Until next time, have a great week.